Pat Mayo Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by Underdog, the Cadillac Championship Research, Picks, and Preview. Smash a like while you're here and join the rabbit hole. Betspertsgolf.com/Mayo. Get yourself a discount. I'll be doing the walkthrough on this show. As you can hear, my voice isn't quite back to where it normally is. Now, if you heard me on the live show on Thursday for the brief amount of time that I was on, I could barely talk that day. Hence why Cust ended up hosting the draft show and did a fantastic job. I really got to say he didn't beat my expectations, but I think he beat the expectations of about everyone. I called upon Cust, not Jeff, to host because I knew that Cust would really do the work to make sure that it went well, and it did. So shout out to him on that. We'll probably get back together this week for something, and of course Jeff and I will be here on Monday now that I'm back full time. We got a signature event, and then the PGA Championship the following week. So 3 huge weeks in a row on the PGA Tour. Now this is the first time that the tour is going back to Doral, the Blue Monster, Trump National, since 2016 when Adam Scott was the winner. That is not the last time that we have seen it, though. Doral has been played on the LIV Tour each of the past 4 seasons, with the last 2 being individual events where Burmeister won 2 years ago and then Leishman won a year ago. And the way that the course is going to be set up, at least per the scorecard that the PGA Tour has put out, it's going to resemble a lot of what we saw on LIV last year. It's super long. It's like over 7,700 yards. Since the Gil Hanse design in 2014, bunkers were added, more water was put into play, and these bunkers are really deep. They're really difficult to get out of. Ask Bryson DeChambeau what happened to him in the final round last year. And you always, because it's in Miami, and well, it is technically a parkland course, there's a lot of open area because there's just water everywhere at Doral. That wind can become a real factor, as it did in the final round a year ago, which gave us, I would say, more of an atypical leaderboard. Had they have played another day, that's back when LIV was only 3 rounds, mind you, that I think that we would have saw the general prototype of player that we normally get at Doral and have throughout its history go to the top of the leaderboard. And that is a lot of distance. You don't have to hit a ton of fairways. You just have to not hit the water. The rough isn't extreme at Doral like it is at somewhere like Bay Hill, though Bay Hill's probably the closest comp to this course. Torrey Pines, Riviera, Masters, Bay Hill, that sort of leaderboard is what you should expect this week. And this will end up being one of the more difficult tournaments on the PGA schedule this year, especially in the non-major division. If it had the highest winning score, would not be super stunned by that, especially if the wind picks up just even a little bit. There's 72 players in the field. There's no cut. It starts on the 30th of April, and you're not going to have a huge AM/PM split. Guys will go out in 2s. They'll probably go off from number 1 only. I don't have that information yet, but that's been the trend so far of these signature events. And let's put a pin in this for a second. But there's 3 more signature events left. There's this one, there's next week at Quail Hollow, and then there's the Travelers Championship, which is the week after the U.S. Open. So I think we're 70% through all of the signature events so far this season. Can we backload some of these? Do we need to go Masters, signature event, stupid Zurich, signature event, major? That is like the worst run on the PGA Tour schedule. Give me a moment here. Getting too fired up. My voice can't handle it as of right now. We'll see if I'm able to talk tomorrow. I'll rest my voice the rest of the day like I've been doing each of the past 3 days. But it's leading to not all the top, like the whole point of these signature events is that all the top guys play. And we see the field of 72. That sounds like a lot of guys, but Rory's not playing, Fitz isn't playing, Xander's not playing, Bobby Mack's not playing, and Ludwig isn't playing. So you're missing 5 of the top 14 players in the world. The whole point of these events is to get all these players to play in the same place at the same time. I would expect all of them to be on the course at Quail Hollow a week from now. I mean, Xander's won there before, Rory's won there before. I'm really actually super stunned that Ludwig is taking a pass. This is a perfect Ludwig course. Think about all the courses I just mentioned. You have Bay Hill, where he came 3rd this year. He's won at Torrey Pines. Obviously, he's been great at the Masters 2 of the 3 years, and pretty good even in his 3rd year. He just couldn't chip or putt that year. You think this would be a perfect spot to go out and get a win, especially because he's been trending up so much, but nah. Taking a pass this week. It really does feel like a Scotty or bust week, with especially if the difficulty gets ratcheted up, that Scotty is probably the place where you want to go with this tournament. I'm curious to know how the PGA plans on structuring the signature events next year, because we just heard that Hawaii is going to be off the schedule. They'll probably start at Pebble Beach or Phoenix next year of the official PGA Tour schedule. Jeff and I will talk about all of this on Monday, but we need these to be spaced out a little bit. Fitz isn't playing because he's playing with his brother and in second place right now as I'm speaking at the Zurich, trying to get his brother a PGA Tour card. Wouldn't that be nice? We got a couple runners at Zurich too from the Monday show. Billy Ho and Tom Hoagie at 90-1 is our best look right now. But any team that made the cut at Zurich is probably pretty live. There's like a 6-stroke difference between the leader and everyone who made the cut. It's -16 and -10. And I think the leaders are George Springer and not George Springer, Hayden Springer. George Springer hitting bombs, not so much for the Jays right now, but last year in the playoffs, hit a ton for the Jays. But Hayden Springer and whoever the hell else, it's not Eckroat, it's Eckroat and Thompson. You know, it doesn't matter. Maybe they go on to win, but there's only a 6-stroke difference. If you can just have a huge 4-ball day and then make up like a -5 round and alternate shot, anyone is live in this tournament. But enough about that tournament. We're here to talk about Doral. I'm super excited. It's back on the card. This was the site of the best live event from last year, the one that at least that I was the most engaged with. It was super fun to watch. It's a super difficult course, so let's get to it. After the coughing fit I just had, I can't imagine the show goes the normal hour. We'll probably try to keep it to a half hour here, or else I might not be able to get through it. However, the Cadillac Championship, the Blue Monster course at Trump National Doral, par 72, 7,739 yards, Tiff Eagle Bermuda grass, 7,200 square feet. The green on number 1, that's the average green size. On number 1, it's 10,000 square feet. So that's usually, when I start to think about everything, be it some of the comp courses that I laid out, Bay Hill, Riviera, the Masters, these are all very large putting surfaces. If you can get your lag putting on lockdown at this course, you're going to do pretty well. There's 110 bunkers everywhere and 10 holes with water in play. 3 par 4s, the average distance is 204 yards. Only one of them is under 200 yards, and that's 155 yards. So the other 3 are super long. Long irons, going to be key here. In 2016, 14 of the top 16 finishers gained on the field on the par 3s. That's really where you can make up ground at this course. The par 4s, there's 10 of them, 437 yards. There's one under 400 yards, that's number 16, which I'm guessing they're going to make drivable over the water at least one of the days. That's a pretty easy hole. There's 9 of them over 400 yards, 3 of them over 470 yards. And again, this has to go back to, they've added 250 yards to the course from the last time the PGA played here as well. The driver usage sits right around 62% for this course, the PGA average at 68.9, and the accuracy shrinks because it's only like 52% here. Very thin fairways. It's like a Twizzler. You know, it's not small. It's just thin. But you can miss a lot of fairways here. Any course where Mark Leishman can win, Bay Hill, Torrey Pines, Doral, you have to have a good short game. You need to be really good with your irons that week, good with your lag putting. You don't have to hit all the fairways. You really just need to avoid the water in a lot of these senses. The par 5s, average distance 590 yards. Number 1 was made more difficult since the Hans design, although it's still probably going to play as the easiest hole on the course. In 2016, the top 3 par 5 scores for the week finished 1, 2, 3 on the final leaderboard. Adam Scott, Bubba Watson, and Rory McIlroy. It's funny to go back in time and look at that leaderboard going in to Sunday, the last time they played it here. You'll see in a second when you think about comp courses. So here's the leaderboard. It was Rory over Dustin and Adam Scott, then Danny Willett, Bubba Watson, and Phil Mickelson. Now, at the time, these were not all Masters champions, although Dustin didn't have a major yet, Willett didn't have a major yet. Dustin would rectify that very soon. Willett would rectify that in about 3 weeks when he won the Masters. Those are all Masters champions who went into the final day on the leaderboard, which I thought was pretty telling. So maybe we just kind of pick and choose the guys who are remaining in this field from the Masters tournament, even this year, even go back and look at the past few years. It's going to be one of the ways that we can really figure this out. Bowditch played in 2015. If you remember Stephen Bowditch, he became like the first player since I think 1962. I'll have the official stat in my Substack column that comes out, but he was like the first guy since the 60s to shoot all 4 rounds in the 80s. They're like lightning fast greens here. It's very difficult off the tee. Being long really helps. Like, just think about the names that I just listed off, that it's going to be a situation where you want to hit the ball as long as possible. The PGA Tour average, it was 291 yards in driving distance now, but this is 10 years later. So 289 yards back then, the guys are going to be ripping it off the tee. There are certain holes where you can lay up. Obviously, that short par 4, maybe you don't take driver at it if you're not going for it. But I would guess that the driver usage will probably be up a lot here unless guys have a really tough time shaping their shots both ways. Especially off the tee. If guys aren't very comfortable with hitting a draw with their driver, you can see them clubbing down to 3-wood or whatever it is and just leaving themselves with a longer approach in to make sure. Because if they can only hit a cut or try to hit it straight, if they lose it right, they're in the palm trees, they're in the rough, and just a lot like Bay Hill, that if you're not coming in on the right angle, then all of a sudden it's going to be a long shot anyway, that you'd rather be hitting that out of the fairway or avoiding some of these deep fairway bunkers, because some of the fairway bunkers are just pure layup on some of them. Ask Bryson. If Bryson can't go for it in 2 or can't get his one loft irons all out of everywhere, then it's going to be tough for a lot of guys. Again, that's just clicking Bay Hill in my mind. Excuse me. Sorry about that, guys. I'll try to keep this as quick as possible because I'm melting down here already. So the last time we saw it, you had Scott, Bubba, Rory, 3 of the longer drivers on tour at the time. Even Adam Scott, then Adam Scott not so much now. Phil, Jimmy Walker, Casey, Ricky, Smiley Kaufman. Kaufman I think he ended up being low debutante at the Masters in like 3 weeks after that. It's funny how that all ends up working out. This is back-to-back wins for Adam Scott, by the way. He had won at the Honda just before this, and he was second at Riviera previous to that. So it was a very good run. I don't remember because we were just so Willett invested in 2016, and I think a lot of people were Spieth invested at the Masters. But Adam Scott probably had to be like 4th on the betting board that year. I don't actually recall where he ended up, but he came in second, first as his lead-in form to the Masters as a former Masters champion, because when he went in 2013, then yeah, it'd be pretty good. You can see Dustin Johnson, JB Holmes, Bubba Watson, Adam Scott. Then you get like your Stensons and your Louis. Like great approach play can really overcome everything, but you just see the very top guys on this leaderboard are just bomber. Patrick Reed wins. Patrick Reed was one of the longer guys on tour. But that year was a little bit different, although you still had Sterney who hit the ball a mile. Dustin, Bubba Watson was up there. But then you get your short game, hot putter type guys. Like even at Live a year ago when Leishman won at 6 under, Charles was 5 under just because he like made every single putt. He actually gained distance on the field. I went back and looked at it, and Leishman actually lost distance on the field, but his approach play was like scorching. And a lot of the bombers who were there, be it Burmeister, Rom, and Bryson and DJ were actually all near the very top of the leaderboard, and they all kind of melted down on Sunday, leaving you with like a Carlos Ortiz. Sergio ended up there. So just great ball strikers are really what you want here. If you can get like really hot with your approach play, hence why when I said off the top of the show, this is kind of the perfect Scotty course. It kind of is. This was an interesting year. So you had fewer of the bombers at the top of the leaderboard in 2013. You had Tiger at 19 under, Stricker, Mickelson, Scott. So, Tiger, Phil, and Adam Scott are still 3 of the top 4 guys. Keegan hit it a mile at that time, too. Not quite sure about Peter Hansen, but Rose has had some good run here in the past, as you can see. Phil's won here. Jeff Ogilvy. It's a pretty star-studded leaderboard when you take a look at it. So Masters champ, Masters champ, Masters champ, Masters champ. Justin Rose, who could very well be a Masters champ, has the 2 runner-up and has been in contention. Then you have like the outlier of Nick Watney. Then Els has not won the Masters, but has won major championship. So if it wasn't in Florida, it would be a major championship venue. You can even see him when we go back and take a look at the Adam Scott year. Why do I keep going past it here? 2016. There we go. And see the strokes gained on the field. The amount of strokes Adam Scott gained on approach was ridiculous. 11.4. And it's funny, when I went back and looked at his green and regulation percentage, he was like 45 to 55% every single day on driving accuracy. He was like 13 of 18 on greens and regulation. It's just when he was hitting it, he was sticking it. Burned, Bubba, Bill Haas, Charlie Hoffman. These were most of the leaders. But you can see, even if you do have the great approach play going, if you can't make that up with your driver somewhere, you still need to be good off the tee. When you look at off the tee play, like no one in the top, 8 finished outside the top 17 in strokes gained off the tee. Around the green, it's going to be difficult. There's a lot of runoff areas. The rough can get like a bit nippy here, like where it's that thick Bermuda stuff. It's not thick like you see at Bay Hill, but it can really catch your club, and it's difficult to get out of and really control your ball. So there's a lot of like kind of hunking it out and hoping the ball runs up. The stoppability from that rough is very difficult. But if you're around the green and doing well, you can hit a lot of those like low clip shots that you can get to spin and control your trajectory and stopping power a lot here. But if you're really relying around the green, it's going to be tougher. You saw that's how Willett got it done. Phil was very good around the greens, but he matched that. Same as Fowler, who came 8th. They matched that great around the green play with great iron play to go along with it. Willett was just good across the board. Look at this Smiley Kaufman. If he had just putt that week, like he could have won this tournament, which is wild to think about. You know, Casey and Bubba, you don't want to be in the huge negative anywhere. It is a true tee to green test, and when you start looking at the putters, you know, it's not necessarily the best guys in the field on the greens, just like we see at the Masters a lot of the time. So putting is going to be a lot less predictive this week. You want that overall tee to green, which is why it's a real bummer. Like no Xander, no Fitz, no Rory. Like these are 3 guys that obviously, like, we know that they're good players. Fitz has won, 2 of his past 3 starts. Could be 3 of his past 4 if he ends up winning this week. However, he would have been a very good look at this course. So when we come back, we're going to dig into the stats that matter. We're going to look at those comp courses and try to find someone not named Scotty Scheffler to bet, or to say, screw it, we're all betting Scotty this week. Stay tuned. Underdogs expanding the game. You already know their player picks. Pick higher or lower on player stats. Today, Underdog prediction markets are live in 25 states. Back your squad with spreads, handicap for closer game, or totals, higher, lower combined score, combined with player picks for bigger payouts. New customers play $5 on fantasy, get $75 in fantasy bonus entries. Code Mayo. Team picks, player picks, all on Underdog. Starting something new is terrifying. I remember right before launching this show thinking, what if no one listens? What if it completely flops? And that's something that has persisted every time that I hit record and go to edit a show, even as I'm recording this right now. It never goes away. But taking that leap ended up being one of the best decisions I ever made. And honestly, having something like Shopify back then would have made it a whole lot easier. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses. Whether you're just getting started or scaling up, you can build a clean, professional store with ready-to-use templates that actually match your brand. No coding headaches. And it's not just a storefront. Shopify's got built-in AI tools to help write product descriptions, improve your pages, even upgrade your images. Plus, you can run email and social campaigns right from the platform like you've got a full marketing team behind you. That would have been great like 15 years ago, not gonna lie to you. Best part, everything lives in one place. Inventory, payments, analytics, so you're not juggling 5 different tools to run your business. It's time to turn those what-ifs into with Shopify today. Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/PatMayo. Go to shopify.com/PatMayo. That's shopify.com/PatMayo. Betspertsgolf.com/Mayo to get yourself a membership at the rabbit hole right now. And if you're looking for the old legacy tools, you still get Fantasy National along with this, but the lineup generator from Fantasy National is now over at Betspertsgolf.com inside the rabbit hole, if that's the way you want to do it. Obviously, the optimizer, the tournament simulations are all there as well, but we're going to get all of the tools eventually that everyone loved from Fantasy National over to the site as we sunset that site moving forward. You can see strokes gained total over the past 6 months. Hell, let's shrink it down to the past 3 months here. See how we're doing. Scotty, Cam, Morikawa, Bridgman, and Knapp. This should be actually a really good Jake Knapp course, depending on how much you enjoy Jake Knapp. Obviously, it has not been going as well recently as it was earlier on in the year. Played very poorly at the Heritage, played very poorly at the Players Championship. Didn't play Amex. Maybe he's just not good at Pete Dye courses. That could be one of the things. He's been great and inside the top 11 of every other start this season. So this could be a very good Jake Knapp spot if you're looking for, I would say, someone further down the list, but Jake Knapp has been very much inside the very top in odds. Like if I was to guess the odds right now off the top of my head without really thinking about it, Knapp's going to open at like 35-1. Maybe that's a good number. I don't know. This would have been a really good Nikolai course, but I worry about that he kind of gave up the momentum that he had earlier on in the season. It's been really bad. Like the Masters was bad for him. Heritage was bad for him, but he's still gaining off the tee. And if he can continue to gain off the tee in some of these tournaments and keep up the approach play, hopefully you get the hot putter week at a course like this. You know, the around the greens hit or miss, but it's better. It's more often good than bad, and the approach play has been kind of trickling down a little bit. But that driver, that's a per round too. That, 2, 1, 3, like even in 2 rounds at the Masters, he drove the ball immaculately. He just could not chip, he could not putt, and he could not putt at the Heritage despite gaining a bunch. So maybe a decent rebound spot for Nikolai, but he's going to be price sensitive. If they start pricing him back at like 80, 90 to 1, then I think he's a play. If he's in that like 50 range, you can probably lose me with that one. So Scheffler, Cam, Morikawa, Bridgman, Knapp, Siwoo, Hideki, Henley, Nikolai, Hitsatsune, Mav, McNeely. So there's a few different ways we can look at this. Let's start going into, we can probably take a look at the course data again just for a second and to see historically, if we have it, I don't know if we average shot distribution, where the shots were coming from at Doral for even 10 years ago from the last time that we saw it. So let's see, 15% of... So it's about the same 50 to 125. Around 15% of your shots are coming that way. The total of 150 to 125, almost exactly the same as you're seeing. And a lot of those are the layups on the par 5s or even on that short par 4 where you're going to have a lot of those like really, not a lot, but like 1/5 of your shots are going to be tricky, like 64-yard pitches, especially at some of these back pins and these giant greens. Again, a lot of like when you miss greens at Augusta, you get that huge roll off, then all of a sudden you're dealing with more elevation at Augusta National, but similar distance of shots and the way that you need to control everything. Obviously, the second cut at Augusta National is still pretty easy to deal with. If it does roll back into that like Bermuda rough here, it's going to be a bit more difficult. 125 to 150, about tour average. 150 to 175, slightly higher than tour average. 175 to 200, a bit lower. And then you get to the 200 plus where you're just going to have more strokes. 25% of shots came from over 200 plus yards in 2016, the last time we saw it. And it has been lengthened by over 200 yards since the last time we saw it. So expect a few more there, although guys are longer off the tee now. But a lot of that will have to do with the par 3 ranges where the 3 of them are going to be over 200 yards. So we can take a look at that right away. And we'll take a look at par 3s over 200 yards, the 201 to 225. It's a very small sample for Justin Thomas, but he does rate out number 1. Thomas, and this should be a good Thomas course if he's driving it well. He just doesn't really drive it well. He had a very bad Heritage. Very, very bad. Although I think he was good in the final round. Yeah, he was awesome in the final round. Look at that approach play from JT. When it means nothing, nothing's on the line, dude was getting it done on the final day. But outside of the players, he's been pretty bad this year. It does, on paper, seem like a course where he would play pretty well. I don't think he was actually on tour the last time that they played. Let's see, Cadillac. Oh, no, he played it in 2016 and was pretty bad, although he gained putting. But again, that's 10 years ago. It's less about who has the good course history here. It was more about what types of players have done really, really well here. So that's the 201 to 225. You see, like, Day is up there. Day is actually a pretty decent look here, I think. Spawn, Minwoo, Jake Knapp is up there as well in the long par 3s. You can see Thomas is 4th from 225 plus. Nikolai is number 1. Then you lose Hideki and Ryo Hitsatsune. They go from 4th and 5th to 62nd and 36th. Spawn goes from 7th to 60th. The Gala and Harmon go from 9th to outside the top 40. Harry Hall is good at both. Putnam's good at both. Gerard's good at both. Day is good at both, as is Minwoo Lee. And Jake Knapp's not horrible at the super long ones, but he's very good at that 201 to 225. So let's see if that mixes up at all with the approach scoring opportunities from those range. This is the old stat that we used to have at Fantasy National of opportunities gained, but it's from each of the ranges, and you can see inside 5 feet, inside 10 feet, and inside 15 feet, if that's the way that you want to go. So on these longer shots, let's just go inside 15 feet to see who the best players are. Hitsatsune and Matsuyama. So that kind of correlated a little bit with what we were looking at on the shorter of the 200 to 225 par 3s. Beyond that, it got a bit more difficult for them. Kitayama's won at Bay Hill. Was he in the mix at Heritage? I feel like he was. Yeah, he ended up coming T8. A lot of that was around the green for him, which is not typical. Excuse me. Bad at the Masters, bad in Houston, bad at the Players. So he just kind of pops. Like, you're either going to be in or you're going to be out on him. He was kind of rolling through Pebble Beach, Genesis, and Bay Hill earlier this year with great off the tee play, great approach play. The around the green was sinking him a ton. He was putting well at that time. It's funny to gain almost 3 strokes off the tee and a stroke and a half on the greens for him and only come T18. Obviously, it was a signature event, but to take a look at what he's been doing, he's still making cuts. And, a top 10 the last time we saw him at a way different course in a signature event. But I could get behind it just based on his history at courses. He played really well at Riv this year. He played really well at Bay Hill this year. This is the type of course that has very similar traits and type of guys to that. Tom Hoagie, very good on these long scoring opportunities, as is Harris English, a Torrey Pines winner. Take a look at old Harris for a second. What's he been up to? I feel like he comes T22 every single week. He's just T4, T30, T21, T24, T22. Top 30 bet has cashed every week but one on Harris English so far this season. And that's in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 starts. 9 of 10. Top 30 percentage. He's rolling the putter well. The approach play is just too bad for me to really get behind as someone for an outright bet in the situation. But if this becomes one of the years where conditions are difficult to the point where it's like a -6, -7 type score, I believe that does make him a little bit more live than it would if it's going to be like a -14, -15, because then you need to be rocking it with your irons. We just have not seen that from him so far this year. I think Rose is actually a really good look at this course. Obviously, he's won here before. You're going to be hit or miss with Justin Rose, and we've seen that in terms of his results. But the more difficult that the field gets, the better he tends to play. Like, he was bad at Riv, and he was bad at the Arnold Palmer, but then he rebounded very nicely. Didn't play the Heritage, 3rd and 13th his last 2 times out. Obviously, won at Torrey Pines earlier on this year. The last hugely waterlogged course that he played was Southwind last year, and he won in a playoff over JJ Spawn. So it's a good look for Justin Rose here. And again, it's all going to be price sensitive. You get him beyond, if let's say Rose for some reason is behind Jake Knapp, that means he's like 40-1. It's not terrible. That's the way that you want to look at it. So those are the guys who have done really well on those 200 plus. We can also look at the proximity ranges, overall proximity from 200 to 250. Again, if we're going to get 1/5 of your shots or even 1/4 of your shots from that range. The best players here, Corey Connors is interesting because he's also someone that's played well at the Masters in the past, not always, and has played Bay Hill really competitively in his life. Adam Scott, obviously, as well, up there. Just, he's won here before, the driving, the putting. He's won Riv in the past. He's played really well at Bay Hill. Obviously, won this course, won at the Masters. But it's Siwoo, Connors, Yella Miraju, Keegan, and Scott. Then you got Morikawa. Could be a good Morikawa track, actually. He doesn't really fit the distance that we're looking for, but obviously he just continues to show up. He'll probably be behind someone like Cam Young, who's a pretty good play on the odds board this week. But if you can get him 20-1 or more, even coming back, 7th at the Masters, 4th at the Heritage, the approach play has been really good. Off the tee has been hit or miss, but he's someone that can get away with accuracy this week. He might try to ratchet it up because it is a super long course. He's won in Florida in the past. He won the concession the year that they ended up playing there. See Nikolai Højgaard, another very good long iron player. Cantlay starting to trend up a little bit. Cantlay's interesting. Let's take a look at Cantlay for a minute. Someone who's been competitive at Genesis in the past and had some decent results. He was just 12th at the Masters, so it's been 3 consecutive top 12 finishes for Patrick Cantlay. It's like he's starting to get his juice back just a little bit. Let's take a look at his ball speed. So his ball speed is actually going back up over the last 8 rounds or so after taking a dip. I looked at this year over year. I've done this a few times now. You can see his ball speed is still down like 3 miles per hour from what it was 2 years ago, 2 miles per hour from last year. It's starting to creep back up. I theorized that he was injured and he just wasn't giving it his all off the tee, but maybe it's a part of a new strategy that he has going, or maybe he's just starting to ramp it up a little bit more right now. But that's where we're at. Shane Lowry's in the field. He missed the cut at the old Zurich this week, teaming with Brooks Koepka on the number. They missed a putt on 17, and that really did them in. Or it was a 17, no, it was number 9. I think they played it in reverse order. Anyway, they ended up missing the putt that they need after the commentator's like, he's definitely making this. Push right. Missed the cut. Happens. Happens to the best of you. One moment, please. Ugh. Rough on it. I thought when I quit smoking, I'd never have to be coughing again, but now that I got 3 kids, these viral infections will just be the death of you. Little kids and sickness, comes with the territory, but it just comes out of nowhere at all times. I felt my throat on Wednesday night just starting to kind of close up, and it was getting scratchy, and I woke up and I basically couldn't talk. Then I was like chugging honey and drinking tea and drinking a bunch of water to hopefully get it going for Thursday night, and that just was not going to be the case. So that's what we're looking for, and that's what we've seen. So a lot of Siwoo has popped up. Keegan, I mean, I'm not really in on Keegan, but we've seen Nikolai pop a few times. Straka's won in Florida in the past. I was trying to figure out with Straka who he's a comp to, and I had it. It's Leishman, who did win here last time, and obviously they win at different types of courses. And I think that overall, like when you look back at the career, Leishman's going to end up being, he's won bigger events than Seb Straka has. But Leishman just reminds me of a guy that was like constantly in the mix, and unless you caught him in the right, like the weeks that he ended up winning, it was like no doubt he was by far the best player on Sunday against some of the best players in the world, be it at Torrey or Bay Hill or even last year at this live tournament. The courses, he doesn't have a ton of wins on tour, but when he wins, they're like super impressive. And it feels that way with Straka too. And Leishman was always in the mix, which was the interesting thing. That Straka is always in the mix, and then you get to Saturday or Sunday, and he just absolutely implodes. Like his fourth round, minus 7.7. He was 3 shots off the lead going into Sunday. He finished T42. The Valero Texas Open, and he missed the cut there. So he actually played pretty well in the fourth round at the Players to come top 10. Or is it? Yeah, API. Lost 4.5 strokes. The weekend at the Genesis was just ludicrous. Lost 10 strokes in round 3. He has these weird ebbs and flows that if you can just miss like the complete gas can blow up round, Straka is going to be pretty competitive. And this is a good driving, good iron course, and you just hope that he kind of putts. The putting has been bad in some of these tournaments. Overall, it's been good, but when he loses a ton. And the driver's now been a loss for the past 3. So that's a bit more difficult to put your money behind. And again, I mean, the reason that I keep betting on him is because they keep listing him around 70-1. You go into Sunday, I think I bet on him 5 times this year, and 3 of the times he had a legitimate chance to win going into Sunday at Pebble Beach. I would throw Bay Hill into that because he was very much in the mix, and I would throw Heritage into that as well. So those are 3 tournaments. I bet the guy 5 times. He's given me a sniff 3 of those times. No, I bet him 6 times. I bet him at Phoenix as well. That didn't work out well. But for guys that are way down the board, I feel like that's a pretty good percentage that we're looking at here. Let's go back to the overall strokes gained metrics that we're looking at. And just see strokes gained off the tee. You see it is Cam Young, number 1. I mean, this is probably a pretty good way to look at it. Cam Young, Goddard, Siwoo, Scheffler, Hitsatsune. I don't mind going back to Goddard again here. The short game, I mean, the around the green is good. The putting's been bad. But that doesn't really bother me after we saw a lot of the bad putters end up doing pretty well here. I was very impressed with how he played at the Masters in his debut. And even at the Heritage, he started out pretty slow and went gangbusters with a hot putter, mind you, but great approach play. The driver's always going to be pretty good. He obviously has the distance to compete. Ryan Fox would be another one at this course. Minwoo, Cam Young. A lot of the guys that you would use in Houston at Memorial Park, you can see popping up here this week. The other guys, so Cam Young, Goddard, Siwoo, Scheffler, Hitsatsune. Woodland could be a look. He's a former winner he just won in Houston. He's also won in Florida in the past. Cootie could be a good look here. I don't know about Jordan Smith. Maybe on Jordan Smith. You got Stevens and Jake Knapp. Yella Miraju and Fleetwood are both up there as well. If you can compare them with some good approach play, that would be Yella Miraju. That would be Cootie if we're just looking at the past 6 months. I want to take a deeper look into Cootie and Scheffler. Because I've been, since I went on vacation, I didn't do as much research post-mortem on the Heritage as I probably should have. Just, I was kind of out of the game for a minute. Let's see, very good Heritage in terms of approach play. Bad off the tee, but he's been bad off the tee now for like 2 months, but he did get injured at one point. The around the green has been really bad. I wonder about P.S. and Cootie. I can't even really do the voice right now. It's very, very sad. I'm really going to have to up the volume. Speaking very quietly, unlike I normally do. I want to see how Scotty got it done. I didn't really look. Yeah, his approach play wasn't all that good at the Heritage. It was okay. It was way off typical Scheffler stuff, though. The driving was immaculate. The around the green was awesome. The putting was terrific. That's how you end up making the playoff. But, only 1 round over a stroke gained on approach. That's not what I would have expected. looking back at that. Now, he had 2 rounds. He gained 5 strokes on approach round 3 at the Masters. So it's still in there. But again, only 2 rounds, a half stroke, minus 0.6. This is not what we're used to seeing. So maybe Scheffler or bust isn't the move, despite the fact coming off of back-to-back runner-up finishes. It's not being done the way that you would want, although gaining completely around. And look, he's never played Riviera as great as you'd like him to be, but obviously he's won at Bay Hill. He's won twice at the Masters. He's kind of perfectly tailored for this course when everything is running well. But outside of the Masters, you'd have to go back to Phoenix. The last time he gamed over, 2 strokes on approach. That's not a very good hit rate right now. So that worries me. Cam Young's also kind of perfectly set up for this course, but I do worry about his approach play as well, that it's kind of in that Bryson mold, although it's been it's been consistently good. So maybe I'll retract that. Generally speaking, that was kind of always the bugaboo with him, and that's what it was earlier in the year as well, that the approach play can get really bad. He's gained in 5 straight. He's gaining off the tee. It's Cam Young week. Cam Young, Goddard. That's probably where I'm going to end up landing here. Normally, this is where I would be guessing the odds and going through the model. You guys can build your own model here. I don't think my voice is going to end up keeping up. But my early impressions from going through this, obviously it's always Nikolai's season. But Sam Stevens, I think, is a pretty good look. Obviously, Cam Young, Morikawa, Knapp, Rose. Obviously, I'm not going to bet all these guys. I need to wait on the numbers. And Goddard would probably be my looks from the top. Nikolai, Straka, Sam Stevens from down deep. We'll see where Adam Scott being quote-unquote the defending champion, albeit a decade ago, will probably end up being overvalued in price. And if you did just want to go single bullet on Scotty, I don't think that's the end of the world. I think it's a great look, considering he's doing this without his approach play now, that if it does click, he's going to run away with this, especially if it plays difficult. So that is the research show on the Pat Mayo Experience for the Cadillac Championship at Doral. Hopefully you guys can win some money at the Zurich along with me. Wouldn't that be great? And we can fire away at the Cadillac Championship. My voice and myself shall return, hopefully, on Monday with Feinberg as we break everything down, talk about the Ryder Cup captaincy. Now that Jim Furyk is the American Ryder Cup captain, no more Hawaii on the PGA Tour, all the fun stuff that we always talk about. Then Tuesday, I believe it's me and Tambo this week. I think Tambo's back full-time on the show. I'll confirm with him on that. If not, it'll be Blickle and myself, then Keith and I on Wednesday. And then Thursday is either going to be a brand new Cuss Corner or it'll be me, Jeff, and Tim going over the NFL draft. Now that it's completely over, we might even get a Sealy show in there as well for fantasy too, all right? Hit the like button, smash the subscribe button to the channel. I think I got that backwards. The Dayquil's starting to hit on me right now. But my Substack will still hopefully be coming out on Sunday evening after the Zurich ends. You can sub to that for free down in the subscription. Get it sent directly to you, all right? That really does help me out. Really appreciate you sticking through me here with the voice issues, and I'll see you next time.
Mayo Experience.